So basically, it's like that saying, he's beating off to a dead horse.
It's exactly what he's doing. This podcast contains graphic descriptions that some listeners may find disturbing. Listener discretion is advised. Now, with that being said, welcome to the Mortal Musings podcast.
Right, let's do this.
So the other day, Neil and I left the house. We were just going to the shop, grabbing a couple of bits, and then we were getting a takeaway to bring home with us. So we left the house, and as Neil is locking the door, he just turns to me and says, "You look ridiculous." That was it. That was all he said to me. I was shook. I haven't recovered since. Now, admittedly, it wasn't me best look, but I still think you were out of line. What a thing to say to a person as they leave the house.
Right, let me explain. So, the look was Ugg boots.
Oh, yeah.
And this black wintry coat.
Yeah.
But then she's wearing these jogging bottoms that Michael Jordan that fit him.
Yeah, they were and the matching hoodie as well. It was a look. It was a look, but I was comfy. I was warm.
Oh, no, yeah. I bet you was comfy.
But it was just ridiculous, apparently.
It made you look a lot shorter than you are.
Yeah.
It made you look squatty.
See, the compliments, the compliments just keep coming here, lads. I mean,
I honestly thought you was going to tell a different story. So, for my birthday, Megan was going to take me out for something to eat. But it had been pissing it down all day, non-stop.
Over 24 hours of just continuous rain.
Yeah, and I don't mean just drizzle. Hammering it down.
Pissing.
Fucking stair rods coming down. So, we thought, where we were going to go out to eat, they also do a takeaway menu. So, we ordered off the takeaway menu. So, this restaurant is basically in a complex with a supermarket.
I know it sounds a bit desperate, lads, but I promise you the food is good.
No, it is good. So we're stood waiting for our food, and this fucking stick insect walks past. Like, he was tall. And Megan had got
tall.
And Megan had got her back to him. So I was like, "Look at the size of that prick. Get a fucking nosebleed up there." And she turned around and went, "That's Hosier."
Yeah, it was Hosier, yeah.
See, I wouldn't have known. I know the name Hosier. I think I can point out some of his songs if they played, but I couldn't say a name of a song.
I am massive, as you know, massive fan of Hosier. I think he's great. No, seriously, I love his music. And I was a bit like, oh my God, it's Hosier. But it's not that shocking because Hosier lives like up the road from us.
Yeah.
So it's not like that shocking to see him in the supermarket kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I was still a bit like, oh, look, Hosier. And Neil turned to me and goes, how did you know it was him? You saw the back of his head.
Yeah.
I kind of saw the side of his face. And also he's very, very tall.
Yeah. And it were only after, when we were in the car on the way back, two things. So I said, shit, you should have took a photo of me and him together because I was wearing the Mortal Musings hoodie. And then I could have tagged him on social media, blah, blah, blah. And then I had another idea. We should have waited outside in the car because we'd got food. Could have ate that in the car, waited for him to come out so I could see what car he'd got.
Are you wanting this as a case on the podcast?
And then my plan was get into a collision with him, but make it his fault. And then the friendship begins.
This is some misery shit. What the fuck? See, Neil did say this to me, and I was like laughing, like, what the fuck? You know, haha, it was a joke. The fact that you've now held on to that and retold as if this is an idea.
But I think people have done that.
I'm sure they have, yeah.
Targeted celebrities. Because they'll get a car out of it. Or...
No doubt. But, you know, I love Hosier. Please don't do that to him. If I ever actually run into him and actually...
Hosier, if you're listening,
yeah,
it's a joke.
It's a joke.
And I'm sorry.
Because this is slightly more threatening to that man because, like I said, he actually does live near to us.
And I'm sorry for saying size of that bastard. You were in earshot when I said it. But come on, you're 6'6".
Is he 6'6"?
Yeah.
Oh, you actually looked it up, did you?
I looked it up.
He is very tall.
Because I had a guess at 6'8".
Good for him. 6'8".
But he looked a lot taller than 6'6" because he was wearing skinny grey jeans.
Yeah, he's very lean as well. Like, so
Yeah.
he's very tall.
He was double denim as well.
Yes, Hosier. Well, I mean, you like country and all that, and I feel like double denim is very prevalent in the country scene. So what I'm trying to say is Neil is now a massive Hosier fan.
Well, I know he likes fucking riding motocross bikes. So that's...
Oh, yeah, you went to the same mechanic as him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of Neil insulting me and fangirling over Hosier. Big fan. Shout out if you haven't heard this Hosier. Anyway, we actually have a bit of business to attend to here, lads. We've what's the word?
It's a first slip up.
I was going to say we fudged it. Is that we fucked up? Fucked up.
We're a year in. Yeah, and we've made our first boo boo.
Yeah.
I'll let you explain because it's your fault.
Well, it's not actually my fault.
It is actually your fault because if you listen back to that episode, you cut me off.
That does sound like something I would do.
To do a birthday shout out.
Yeah. Right. So we pride ourselves on making sure we give everyone their dues and their shout outs.
People look forward.
They look forward to it.
To having a little nickname.
We're very charismatic, Neil. Anyway, one of you slipped through the fucking net.
Yes.
Now, and that someone is Gail. Gail, we are sorry. We love you. But I must say, you're a very fucking tricky woman, Gail. You smelled it out. You were like, what are them fuckers doing? You got to get up very early to catch Gail out.
My lovely Gail running through the field.
In case my references were too subtle, I feel like Neil spelt it out for you. And if you don't know, that is a reference to Father Ted. I happen to know that Gail is a big fan of Father Ted.
Yeah, she's sent me a couple of Father Ted gifts.
Just a few.
Yeah. I think actually My Lovely Horse was one of them. Yes, she did, because I said song stuck in my head. Or she said song stuck in my head.
Yeah, so we apologise, Gail, my lovely Gail, running through the field.
But, me lovely.
What?
Me lovely Gail.
Your lovely Gail.
Wait, what?
What? It's my.
Oh, yeah.
My lovely. Yeah, no, see, you're just adding the accent in. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, our lovely Gail, appreciate you. And thank you for supporting us on Patreon.
And don't forget when you go to York to go to Oss Racing.
What's York got to do with it?
She's going to York.
Oh, okay. I haven't actually been. I heard it's nice.
She thought I was from York.
I would say how dare she, but that's a compliment. York is meant to be stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So why do you say it like that?
It's an upgrade to Sheffield.
So why do you say it like that?
It's an insult to York.
Yeah, it is actually, yeah.
So with that out of the way,
could have been worse.
What are we covering today?
Today we're going to talk about the murder of Shanti Cooper-Tronnes, also known as the house flip murder.
Take she's called Chantel.
Shanti. As far as I know, I didn't
Could be
see...
Shanti.
Shanti. Well, I mean, Americans were pronouncing it slightly more like that, yeah, but I am not. On the 24th of April, 2018, at about 3:51 p.m. in Orlando, Florida, David Tronnes places a 911 call. He's weeping as he tells the operator that he's come home to find his wife dead in the bathtub. He tells them, "I found my wife. She's not breathing." Now, like I said, he's weeping through this. I'm talking like weepy voice killer type shit.
Oh, I remember that.
It's quite intense. He tells the operator that he has tried CPR, but she still wasn't breathing. When emergency services arrive at the home, Shanti is laid in the bath, but they can also see that she's been pretty severely beaten.
And this is during a house flip?
Yeah, sort of. It's actually kind of the reason why I picked it.
Okay.
Well, don't worry.
Because you know I like watching zombie house flip.
I always say to you, we'll get into it. I always feel like a dickhead when I say it, like I'm fobbing you off, but we will get into it. So like I said, Shanti is laid in the bath, but she's been pretty severely beaten. There's no water in the bath, and it was obvious that it hadn't been used for a while. It was completely dry.
And was she clothed? Or...
Yes, she was wearing pyjamas.
Okay.
Laid in the bath. There's also no water splashed around the bathroom either. And Shanti's body is damp, but not soaked as you would expect. The scene just isn't adding up. As they look around the home, they also find blood in her bed. They then ask David to come down to the station, and he goes willingly.
So it's him.
What?
It's him.
Of course it's David. David! So before we get further into the story, let's take a look at the background here. Shanti and David had been together for a few years at this stage, and married for one. Shanti had been married once before, and shared a child with her ex. Since their divorce in 2013, they shared custody of their child. She was described as truly dedicated to her son Jackson. He was her everything. She was hardworking, which I'm sure she had to be, as she actually ran her own business. It was a software company which she ran from her home office.
Lucky.
Living the dream.
Work-wise.
Work-wise, of course, yeah.
He's lucky. I'd love to work from home. Love to do this.
Well, we're working on it. We're working on it. Rome wasn't built in a day. Now, how David came on the scene was Shanti actually met him online. Judging from some of the messages between the two of them, she wasn't necessarily expecting to start a full-on relationship with him. But over time, feelings started to develop. Quote, "I've had a pep in my step since we started this little email affair."
I bet they fucking did.
Well, apparently it was on, I can't remember which one was it, Match.com or Plenty of Fish. It was on a dating site, but like I said, it didn't seem like she was like looking to throw herself into a relationship. She was just sussing it out, I'd say. You know?
Just looking for a fiddle.
Just a little fiddle. David, who was in Minnesota at the time, had only recently ended his marriage. After only a few months of speaking with Shanti online, David made the move to Orlando. And once there, he set his sights on a property in Delaney Park.
If you lived in Minnesota, would you move to Florida?
I don't know. It depends what I'm looking for.
No, I'd stay in Minnesota.
House prices are probably cheaper there, aren't they?
Probably, and the ice hockey's better.
Well, you see, I'm not really into ice hockey.
But you would be if you lived in Minnesota.
Possibly. I don't want to get blood on me, though. You know, when you're in the crowd, this is like splashing everywhere, isn't it?
Well, no, it has perspex screens. So
I seen a video the other day where one of them got like smashed down.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Yeah. I don't want teeth flying at me and, you know, the like.
What kind of an idiot meets someone online and then moves to live with them?
David.
And me.
Oh yeah, you. Fucking gobshite you. Now look at the mess you've gotten yourself into.
I'm here fucking singing My Lovely Horse into a fucking mic whilst covering true crime.
Very versatile. He purchased a home on Old Copeland Drive for over $600,000 from realtor Tara Stevens. Now, this home was 4,000 square feet. It had a pool and also an apartment above the garage.
Of course it had a pool.
It also had gargoyles on it. That's pretty fucking cool.
No, I wouldn't be into that.
Oh, okay. It was a Victorian style
I
home.
prefer like lion headstones.
Don't be ridiculous. It was a Victorian style home, and David and Shanti were looking for a more modern layout. The upstairs was said to have been small and maybe not the best layout for their needs, and, you know, possibly needed some upgrades. And as you can guess from the name of this episode, they're planning on renovating. Tara, the realtor who sold them the house, said that when she met with Shanti, she was lovely and seemed like a very happy person. But David, on the other hand...
Creep.
Well, she described him as giving off the same impression of a child who won't stop until he gets his own way.
Oh.
Not great.
But I don't want to just seem like I'm sticking up for him because he's a man.
Because of the penis and everything.
Well, that'd make him a man. But from what you've told me so far, he's upped and left to move closer to her.
Yeah.
So give a bit of leeway to him for how he wants the home.
Well, Tara clearly doesn't agree with you because she stated that once the deal was complete, she was fucking delighted to be free of him.
Oh.
Yeah, she not a fan.
Okay. But she didn't understand the Minnesota way of him.
In 2015, David and Shanti moved into their new home. Now, the home was in Dave's name, but Shanti was paying for all of the renovations.
Well, she were making 600k.
No, that's how much the house cost.
Oh, yeah.
But she was actually doing well. It was said to have been quite a lucrative business that she was running. Now, as far as I'm aware, Dave was not working at this time. Shanti was the breadwinner. But Dave would claim that he spent his time working on the home.
But you wouldn't expect him to be working. He's just moved state.
Yeah, but you got to figure these things out as you go. You can't just be like, oh, man, just fucking pack up and go.
Yeah, I suppose.
But then, look, I don't know. Maybe Shanti said, I'll support you.
Yeah.
That's the type of woman she was. Now, moving on a few years, by 2018, the home was completely uninhabitable. Shanti was now living in the apartment above the garage, and David slept in the garage below.
Why don't they both stay in the garage or both stay?
Well, it was taking a bit of a strain on their relationship.
Oh, okay.
Don't forget, this is Dave's project here.
Yeah.
He's loving. I mean, this is 3 years on, Dave, and it's still a fucking shambles. But regardless, I'm sure it was an incredibly stressful time for both of them. So anyway, like I said, 3 years on from the commencing of renovations, the house is still a shambles, and Dave is clearly shit at renovations and is in way over his head.
See, I know why you're smirking.
Why?
So in our sitting room, there is a little section where we have a dining table. And I said to her, I could plaster from the pantry to that other wall. I could build a frame, a door frame and a frame for a wall, and do it properly, plasterboard it, insulate it, and turn that into a podcast studio.
Yeah.
And you said something about you're not starting it to not finish it.
Yeah, okay, so...
She said I'd be over my head.
You
put
would.
A wall up.
No, I'm not saying you couldn't do it. Of course you could do it. Well, actually, I don't know you could do it. That's stupid for me to say, of course you could. I assume you could do it, yeah? But the thing, my point was, because we'd be living in it, it's not like we'd be moving out while it's getting done, yeah?
Yeah.
It would take you considerably longer to do the job than someone who was doing it day in, day out.
Yeah.
We also have 2 small pets running around and you would get very stressed out with it. I think it'd be more worthwhile just paying someone to come in and do it in a day.
But I have
or
no
2
lucky
days.
tools.
Anyway, that's not what I was smirking about.
Oh.
Back to the story. 3 years on.
Yeah.
The place is fucked.
Yeah.
Like I said, Dave is shit. He doesn't know what he's doing. So he calls up builder Keith Ory. And he asked Keith if he could come by and take a look. Now, you may be familiar with Keith from the TV show Zombie House Flipping. That is why I was smirking. That is why I was smirking. Yeah.
Keith's the little guy, isn't he?
Yeah, Keith is the one who's like really overdramatic. He's like falling off ladders, like, whoa, like that type of shit. Yeah, that, right. So I came across this case and I was like, oh, let me have a look. And then I was like, right, we have to do this because... I mean, I just know Neil's reaction as soon as I say zombie house flipping. Neil and I have both watched this show. We actually watched it almost non-stop at one point.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Once I start, that's it.
If you're not familiar, basically they call in a team of people to flip a house, and the zombie part comes from the fact that these houses are absolutely bollocksed.
Fucked.
Bollocksed. Yeah, I couldn't believe it. We haven't watched that show in a year or two, and then the other day you put it on the telly. Yeah, and I was like, what the... I was like, did he fucking see what I was writing up? I couldn't believe it.
No.
I looked at you, I side-eyed you, like, did he know? He's doing this to test me. Can you believe you put it on the other day?
Well, yeah, I saw it was on.
No, but I mean, considering, isn't that mad? You hadn't watched it in at least a year and a half.
I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
But it's been a while.
It's been at least a year.
Yeah.
Maybe not a year and a half, but at least a year.
So was this on Zombie House Flipping?
No, it didn't get that far.
Okay.
So, I mean, I said it, I think, at least twice, maybe 3 or 4 times. It's 3 years on at this point, and Keith is called in. And, you think if anything, from his point of view, that's a good thing. They've started making progress, or at least it's a blank canvas. They kind of took everything out.
Yeah.
It's good for the professionals to come in now and get to work.
Yeah.
But when Keith arrived, he was surprised by what he saw. They had managed to stun the man from zombie house flipping. This wasn't an untouched house or even the beginning of renovations. The house was completely gutted. I'm talking literally just the bare bones of this house.
Yeah, but that's where you got to be careful because you've got supporting beams.
Yes.
Oh, that's what they do. Okay.
Not anymore, you fucking don't.
See? Are you impressed? But I know that. So can I build the podcast studio?
Shore up the house. You got to shore up the house.
Yeah.
That's what Keith had to do here. So Keith himself said that he had never seen a house like that before. It was basically just one big, massive open room.
Yeah.
So they had ripped out all of the interior walls. Pretty much all that was left was the 2-inch exterior walls. So literally just a shell of a house. Keith said that, when you talk about disassembling a house, you would use the phrase, quote, take it down to the studs.
Hold on. Orlando. For 3 years.
Yeah.
So it must have been through storms as well.
If they'd had storms that year, yeah.
Well, 3 years?
Years, yeah.
Orlando's bad for storms, isn't it?
I mean, I don't know if there was particularly bad weather in that time period. But, I mean, it stayed standing just about.
Yeah. So,
like I said, the phrase, take it down to the studs, they had literally took away the studs.
Yeah.
It's being held up by, like I said, 2 inches of stucco wall.
But they still had a bath.
They did in the apartment above the garage.
Yeah.
They literally, they can't go into the house. It's just I think it was Keith who described it as it was like a shoebox. It was just a big box, Now, although Keith was shocked by what he saw and debated whether just to tell Dave to, piss off like it's too big of a job, he said that it's rare you come across a project this ambitious and ultimately decided that he was up for the challenge. He began by starting to shore up the home. See, I know the lingo. And not long after that, he got the go-ahead to feature the property on the upcoming season of zombie house flipping. Filming was set to begin in early May, but getting Shanti and Dave in the one spot to confirm arrangements proved difficult. Keith did manage to talk to the both of them, and they said that they were happy to proceed with the plans. But Keith did also note that when they were finished speaking, Shanti left, quite abruptly, and she got the impression that she was pissed off with Dave. Now at this stage, and again I'll note, 3 years on, Shanti's name is still not on the deed, and not for lack of trying. You got to remember, she's putting up all the money, and at this point, nearly $250,000.
And she's supposed to work from home as well.
Yeah. So she's confined to this, I'm guessing it's pretty much like a granny flat almost, if it's above the garage. And obviously, not only wanting to protect herself financially, but she would have wanted stability for herself, and don't forget, she also had a child.
Yeah.
And, $250,000 in, and it's just a shell of a house. It's not great, is it? It's not much for her investment at this point.
Well, it's more than $250,000. The house was $600,000
but
to start with.
He paid for the house. She's paying for all
okay.
of it. Yeah. It was reported that Shanti had confided in one of her friends about her concerns. She told her friend that she was paying for everything, and that if all of a sudden something happens, he owns the house, and she has nothing to show for her investments.
I don't understand why they didn't just joint it from the start.
I mean, you'd think, but I suppose if it was one of those things, you're in love with the person, they're like, well, I'll pay for the home, you pay for the renovations, and you trust them at that point in time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking shit, because she wants a home to live in, or, even if failing that, to sell on and get her money back, whatever the case is. I think we can all agree Dave's a fucking prick.
So far, yeah.
Well, he wasn't just spending a hell of a lot of time here, getting nowhere. He was eating away at their finances. And when I say theirs, pretty much hers. Yeah. And it was pretty much all consuming of his life at this point. It wasn't just a project. He was fixated on this house.
Do you know why? Because she'll have been like, I knew you wouldn't be able to do it. She'll have been winding him up.
She had a point.
Oh, no. She definitely had a point.
But either way, like I said, he was completely obsessed with this. This house was the be-all and end-all to him. Now, jumping back to the day of the murder, Dave is at the police station. He doesn't request legal representation.
Basically, he's acting like Billy Big Bollocks.
Well, yeah. He thinks he can handle it himself. He even gives them samples and agrees for his body to be checked over. He was completely cooperative. As he's talking to detectives, he starts with this weepy voice shit again. He tells them, quote, "I've never been more in love. We were just so happy." He tells them that in the afternoon, he brought the dogs out for a walk in the park and came home to find Shanti dead in the bath, still wearing her pyjamas. He then describes the scene, quote, "I can hear the water is running. I can see her laying. One of her legs is kind of sticking up and out a little bit. It's just extremely awful. I think something went wrong. Either she slipped, or she fell, or she blacked out." I think it's funny how he words it.
So,
it's not...
Well, he was like, so she slipped, but turned the tap on as she fell. And he's saying the water was running, but there were no water, like...
Nothing splashed about. No, there's no kind of signs of someone, even if she had gotten into the bath as the water was running.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even filled, but there's no water splashed anywhere, and the bathtub is dry.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I do find it funny how he words it. I'm not overly keen on people reading too much into how a person speaks in times like this.
Mm-hmm.
People are distressed or grieving or whatever, that they act differently.
Yeah, they even did it with your man, didn't they? What's his name? He killed his wife and his kids.
Chris Watts.
Yeah. So before they knew he'd done it,
Mm-hmm.
he was saying some weird shit.
Mm.
There was only a neighbour who kept picking up on it, going, "Why is he saying that? That's weird."
Mm.
Whereas the police and everyone were like, "He's grieving."
Yeah. And for the most part, I do agree with that.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I can't string a sentence together at the best of fucking times. So, never mind if a loved one had just passed away, particularly in, tragic circumstances.
Mm.
But it does strike me as odd that he's not saying, I don't know what happened. How did this happen? Did she slip? Did she fall? Did she black out? He's not looking for answers as much as he's giving them multiple scenarios and seeing what one clicks, and they kind of go, oh, okay, it could be that, It's basically just waiting to stumble on something that might be plausible.
So basically it's like that saying, he's beating off to a dead horse.
That's exactly what he's doing. But yeah, no, basically through this entire talk, questioning, whatever you want to call it, like I said, he went willingly. He wasn't under arrest.
So he didn't want to look guilty?
Well, Dave just won't shut the fuck up. He puts me in mind of kind of like a Bundy type. He's just that kind of very arrogant, I'm smarter than you. I can play this off.
But cops love them because they can sit back and go,
keep talking. Yeah.
It's been recorded.
But that a lot of people will do that.
Yeah.
Like have you ever
I do it with people at work.
Yes. If you ever have like an argument with someone or whatever. Actually, sorry, not even an argument. If you just don't, because I'm not like the most talkative person. Like, you're a lot more chatty than I am. Someone like me, a lot of people don't know how to deal with it, I don't think.
Yeah.
Because they feel so uncomfortable with silence. I don't really. So a lot of people just keep talking and talking and talking to fill that silence.
Yeah.
If you ever just let someone do that, like, watch the shit that'll spew out of their mouth.
Yeah.
It's fucking insane. So yeah, Dave is a bit of a chatty fucker. And at this point, it's starting to wear thin with the detectives. They question him about the injuries to Shanti's face. If she had fallen or slipped, as he is trying to say, why is her eye bruised and her cheek bloodied? They ask him, did you two argue? Did you fight? He replies, no, absolutely not. They ask, did you harm Shanti in any way? Absolutely not, he replies. They ask if Shanti was upset about the house, and that it must have been a very stressful time for them. Dave says, quote, there was no animosity between us whatsoever.
Check her fucking fingernails.
This is the thing, like, I don't give a shite. Me and you get on really well. Like, we bicker, but we don't really have massive blowout arguments very often. If me and you were renovating a home and essentially living in among the renovations.
We was arguing because we were having an extension built. We had all our living space, and that was still testing.
Well, no, you said that was difficult though.
Because I bought a puppy at the same time as getting an extension built.
Yeah, what the hell is wrong with you? But yeah, you know, when someone is like, no, absolutely not, we were perfect. Bollocks. Bollocks, were you perfect? There's at least small little arguments. Like you fucking argued over what tiles you wanted in the kitchen or something. There's something. There's absolutely no animosity. Bollocks. They ask him about the blood found on her bed. Do you want to know what Dave said? What his reasoning was?
Period.
Yes. He tells them that it was probably from her period. Quote, it did get on the bedspread, and it did get on the side of the bed.
The side?
No.
How heavy flow is that?
Right. And when you look at the angle of where it got on the actual bed itself.
Yeah.
I don't know what fucking angle her body would have had to have been in for blood to have gotten, you know
on the ceiling.
You know the slats of the bed?
Yeah.
I'm not talking about like on the slat. So bear in mind that would have had to have soaked through sheets and the mattress no. It was actually on the edge of the slat. That would have been like against the side of the bed.
So blood had run down the side.
What angle? But again, like over the bedding and mattress and what, how the fuck?
Yeah.
What the hell was she doing? Was she just like squatting there? Like, what are you talking about, Dave? Dave did agree to take a polygraph test. But at this stage, it was the middle of the night, and they didn't have anyone present to administer the test. Something else that raised an eyebrow among the detectives was that all through the questioning, Dave had been crying. And this went on for hours, the questioning with Dave.
Yeah.
They never saw a single tear fall.
I hate, there's so many people I know who, they'll stick that bottom lip out, they'll start talking like this. But you never, ever, ever see a fucking tear.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. So, you know, I think for a lot of people, a normal reaction to crying is you wipe the tear away quickly, you turn your face away, or you don't really want to, you don't want someone seeing you crying and snotting all over the place.
Do you know what's a tell with me? Hood up. If I feel like I can't hold it back, it's coming, I'll pull my hood up. Yeah,
your kind of body language gets a little bit more kind of defensive or distant.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to see someone, or you don't want someone to see you like that.
Yeah.
Whereas the people like this, they like stare at you and you're like, nah, fuck off.
See, that's the way, if I was a cop, I'd have been like, do you want me to get you a tissue? Oh, no, you don't need one.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, like I said as well, the sniffling thing, you can't help it.
Just ask him if he's dehydrated.
Yeah. So again, you know, I don't want to judge anyone too harshly on how they might grieve, but if Shanti's death had actually happened as he thinks it did, you would be completely distraught. Not to mention, you know, according to him, they were in a happy, loving relationship. This is a very sudden, tragic death, if it's how he says it was. I mean, even if it hadn't been such a great relationship, it still would have been an incredibly traumatizing scene to walk into, to find someone like that. Of course, that's not enough reason to charge someone with murder. And after 14 hours spent being questioned by the police, Dave was released without charge.
See, I thought they'd have kept him in until they could do the polygraph.
I don't know if it...
Because they can hold him for 24 hours. I'm pretty sure that's state to state, like.
I'm not 100% sure on that. But either way, 14 hours, they obviously were kind of, I'm guessing, going around in circles at this point with young David. So they released him. But although they had to release him, it's not looking good for Davy Boy, is it? As they try to dig a bit deeper into Dave and his backstory, they get a call from a worker at Club Orlando, the gym that David was a member of. The worker at the club tells them that he knows Dave from seeing him at the gym, and he had once walked in on Dave having sex with another member.
A man.
It was, yeah. Now,
how did I know that? How did I know it was going to be another geezer?
another geezer! Now, not great to be cheating on your spouse, but again, it doesn't make him a killer either. What it does do, though, is give him a motive. It was said by people who knew Shanti that she would absolutely, without question, not have tolerated this behaviour from a partner. And if that was the case, there goes Dave's source of money.
Yeah. Fair point.
Fair point well made. Now, once an autopsy was performed, it was determined that Shanti's cause of death was blunt force trauma and strangulation. A little bit different to Dave's previously stated scenario.
Did she have a pad on?
I don't know.
Well, she were on a period.
Oh, that could have been from before, though. He wasn't saying like that. Did she have a pad on? You said that so serious looking at me. Did she have a pad on? Fuck's sake.
A man's fucking freedom is on the line here, whether she had a pad on or not.
Was the pad on or not? With Shanti's cause of death now determined, Dave's theory now is that Shanti was murdered by a burglar and stated that $5,000 in cash was missing from the home.
We didn't know that before.
Also missing was Shanti's engagement ring worth $15,000.
So this is going to be one of them guys. It's going to be like you want. So let me make an educated guess here. Once the cops start reeling him in, because they always do.
Reel him in.
Is he going to say self-defense? Because it's like you want. She stabbed a man in the back, I don't know how many times, and it was down as self-defense.
Jodi Arias.
Yes. That one popped into me straight away. But I can just sense it, that he's going to, all right, you got me, it was me, but it was self-defense.
He does seem the type, doesn't he? But no. But I'll tell you why his whole burglar theory is a load of bollocks. There was no signs of forced entry. There was no signs of a struggle.
Well, they wouldn't need to. It was a fucking shell. Wasn't it?
No, she wasn't in the house. She was in the apartment.
Oh, yeah.
Let it go. Shanti also worked from home. There was her laptop, her phone, money, other items of jewellery that were clearly visible to a person walking through the living area. And let's say this was a botched robbery and you were in a hurry to get out of the house. Why would you leave something you can quickly grab but take the time to remove the ring from her finger?
Yeah.
It's a load of shite, Dave.
And were these things noted as being missing immediately?
So her ring would have been noted straight away.
Okay.
I'm unsure if that, I from how it seems, Dave later stated, 5,000 quid's missing.
Okay.
That's exactly how he sounds as well, by the way. It was uncanny. Now, some people suspected a homeless man who was in the area, described as looking like Woody Harrelson. All right. I don't know what the hell. Like, do you know what? I knew it was Woody Harrelson. Even when it was Dave, I knew it was Woody.
From Toy Story?
Woody Harrelson, the actor.
I don't know who that is.
He's in... oh my God, I can't think of anything now he's in. You know, what the hell is he in? Holy shit, he's in everything. Do you remember, this is the first thing that's coming to mind, and this is like relatively obscure for all the shit he's been in. Do you remember in Will and Grace, when Grace dated Nathan, he was like the weirdo from downstairs that she hated initially?
No.
And then she like nearly got married to him?
Still no.
Huh. What was that show called? Was it True Detective or Real Detective or something with Matthew McConaughey? Oh my God, he's Zombieland.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Ball Dead.
Yeah. This is, do you know the amount of people listen to this? And
the
like,
bowling. He's
the leader of them. He's not any of the younger ones. He's like, he loves Twinkies.
Huh?
He loves Twinkies. Remember he finds the van?
No, but the bowling.
What?
Right, American listeners are going to hate me because I can't.
He
plays.
No,
he
I
does
can bring
bowling.
it back round. Neil, I can bring it back round to the podcast.
Okay.
He stole Timothy Treadwell's role in Cheers. Do you remember?
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Brought it back round. Her ex-husband was also interviewed. They were said to have gone through a particularly painful and difficult divorce, but he had a solid alibi and was cleared. You got to check out the ex. But come on, it's Dave.
Yeah.
Even when it was Woody Harrelson, I knew it was Dave. Authorities spent about 4 months building a case against Dave, and on the 29th of August 2018, Dave was arrested and charged with the murder of Shanti. When police go to his mother's home, which was where he was staying at the time, they search through his belongings and they find Shanti's engagement ring.
So he's fucked.
David? Can't lie to police, David.
I mean, by they start reeling him in.
Another piece of evidence from the home that was only discovered much later on was a pair of bloodied sheets. The defence hadn't turned them over to the prosecution until 11 months later. They also received a tip from someone in Minnesota.
Oh, an ex.
It was a friend of his ex-wife, Carol. They believed that Dave had been poisoning her during their marriage. Carol had suffered from a string of health issues once she was married to Dave. Shanti also suffered from a few ailments during her relationship with him. Shanti had been suffering from appendicitis and had undergone an appendectomy about 8 weeks prior to her death, which Dave did state in his interview that Shanti had struggled with digestive issues. But after this tip, detectives travelled to Minnesota to speak with Carol. She told them that she had had issues with chronic pain and her immune system. She also said that she'd had digestive issues and that Dave was the cook during their relationship, although Carol does not believe that Dave was responsible for any of her health issues, and police were never able to prove that he was in fact poisoning either of them. That's a bit...
Yeah.
It's a bit sus.
Yeah. But fuck it, the engagement ring's enough.
Isn't it? Now, they dig a little deeper into Dave and Carol and their relationship. And they question whether she was actually protecting him.
Did they question the geezer?
Who?
He was shagging someone at the gym.
I don't know if they ever contacted him or...
I think they would have.
They probably would have, and I'm guessing it was kind of just confirmed that, I was. So like I said, they start kind of like honing in onto Dave and Carol's relationship and seeing what the sus is there. And they discovered that Carol and Dave still shared a bank account. Carol claimed that she had just forgotten to take her name off of the account. But this account contained hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're not just forgetting that, are you? It's all a bit sus, and it's thought that Carol could have been still somewhat involved in helping Dave manage his money or whoever's money this was. During the investigation, police had placed surveillance on Dave and Shanti's home, and over the course of their surveillance, they learned that Dave had been transferring money out of his and Shanti's joint account. They also discovered that Dave was the sole beneficiary of Shanti's life insurance, which was over $350,000.
He was already signed up for that. Because they hadn't been together long.
No, a few years and married for one. So, if Dave hadn't been charged with the murder, he would have gained about $1 million from her death in total.
Okay, hell. And an ass. Well, not really.
I mean, the house was the big thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It seems to be because she had fucked up his hopes of the getting on the telly and getting the work kind of like paid for, at least partially paid for. He fucking flipped. That's kind of what it was portrayed as. I think there's more at play. I think that was the final straw for him.
Yeah.
Money grabbing little prick. In October of 2023, David's trial begins. Keith Ory was called to testify. Good old Keith.
See, I never heard him mention it on Zombie.
I don't think they're going to want him talking about that. Might be a bit of a downer. Keith told the court of how he witnessed a change in Shanti's overall demeanour leading up to her death. Quote, she was tense, or even intense. She appeared mildly upset, annoyed, frustrated at something. The prosecution laid out their theory as to how the murder was carried out, based off of the forensic evidence found. They believed that Shanti was murdered in her bedroom. She'd been severely beaten, with blunt force trauma to the head.
So it's anger. Like for strangulation and to be repeatedly beaten, that's anger.
Oh, actually, sorry, can we go back? I think going back to what Tara Stevens said, like a child that just will not stop. He wants his own way.
Yeah.
He's just going to keep going till he gets what he wants. Very on the point.
Yeah.
Why can't I speak? She was very on the money with this one.
Yeah.
He was right on the money. There we go. Also, talking about Tara, do you remember in Zombie House Flipping, where they bought a house on the lake and they had to go to the neighbour and be like,
yeah.
You own our front. Can we have some?
Yeah.
That was Tara. That was the realtor who sold in the house.
The neighbour?
Yeah, well, obviously she owned the property or just played the owner for that episode. Or whatever.
Oh, okay.
But that was Tara Stevens, the realtor, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
Yeah.
They were in the middle of doing a flip and a fucking alligator just were wandering about.
I think that's a different episode.
He said this is in Orlando.
Yeah.
So that lines up.
But it's all in Florida. It might all be in Orlando.
Oh.
Yeah. But either way, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So they believe that Dave had beaten her and he ensured her death by strangulation. It's thought that Dave had used a green cord to strangle Shanti and that he had taken that from the renovations. But the cord wasn't found until weeks after Shanti's death, giving Dave plenty of time to have cleaned off any DNA evidence. So, unfortunately, we can't say for sure what the murder weapon was.
Yeah.
After Shanti had been strangled, he then moves her body to the bathtub. Although he must have ran some water over Shanti's body, like we said earlier, the bathtub itself was dry.
But she was damp.
Yeah, it was like, from their description, I'm guessing her pajamas were a bit damp, her hair was a bit damp, but like I said, she was laid on a dry surface, you know.
So it could have been from the hose.
What hose?
Didn't you just say a green hose?
No, a cord.
Like a cable.
Yeah, it kind of looked like, you know when it's like, remember kind of like the headset ones you had where it's like the wire and then it's got like plastic over it? It was kind of like some type of cord and it's like got like, I don't know, silicone or whatever. Rubber.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of looked something like that.
Okay.
Something you use in renovations. So, following the murder, it's believed that Dave spent the day cleaning up the scene before calling the police. And then he watched cops to make sure he looked sweaty from his alleged walk with the dogs.
What?
That's me. That's what I had. I had that in because I was like, that's funny. But I was like, oh, it's been so long since I said that. Will people remember it? I thought it was funny. I thought you
sweaty from watching Cops.
Did you get it?
No.
It's a reference to Step Brothers.
Oh, yeah.
I thought you'd enjoy that reference. But no, seriously, Dave's a piece of shit. The defence did not call any witnesses. The defence seemed to lean more into trying to just debunk the conclusions that the prosecution had put forward, rather than...
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They knew he were fucked.
Yeah. Rather than trying to prove his innocence, they were just like, no.
Yeah.
No. That'd be ridiculous. On the 18th of October 2023, after a 6-day trial and a 5-hour deliberation, a jury found Dave guilty of first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life in prison. Shanti's son stated that his mother's death was like a hole in his heart that he cannot fill or fix, and that he just wanted people to know that his mother was a good person who did not deserve what happened to her, but instead deserved the world. Jackson also said that with Dave now being sentenced, it was like 5 years worth of pain and struggle had been lifted off their shoulders. Quote, it feels good inside that he's finally where he is. We can move on knowing that he's where he's supposed to be, where he's meant to be.
Getting buggered by Raymond the Bastard.
He's only a kid, like, he's
Yeah,
young,
yeah.
you know? It's fucking... That's shit.
Yeah.
But that is the case of the murder of Shanti Cooper-Tronnes, also known as the house flip murder.
So what happened with House? Did it get finished?
Well, the house, you know, they said it was his name
Yeah.
on the deed. It was it was put into a trust for him and his mother.
Okay.
So I don't know if she has it, if it's been sold on or what the sus is. But like, so even, you know, the son, it's not like he even, obviously he has his dad and everything.
Yeah.
But it's not even like he's going to get something out of it because his mother's name wasn't even on it.
Yeah.
It can't be sold on and him gets something for it.
Oh, fuck. Got my eye on Keith.
What?
What?
No, Keith's a good man, I think. I don't know him. I hope he is.
He's an overactor.
He is. I love him so much. He falls off a ladder.
Like, there were one where a neighbour were flying a drone around and he tried hitting the drone with a brush.
Oh, yeah.
And he fell in the pool. But it were,
Yes, it's proper. It's
like
good.
Laurel and Hardy sort
Yes.
of. Yeah. But fuck David. Knew it was him straight away. Immediately.
I mean, I didn't try and hide that it was David, but I honestly, do you know, sometimes you're telling a story, you don't want to like give all the information up front.
Yeah.
You kind of want to like, let's see how the story goes. See how it unfolds. No, fuck this guy. Like, it's clearly Dave.
The only bit what's sticking out for me is the damp hair and clothes, but in a bone dry bath. Could she have been sweating a lot because of Orlando? And because at Renovations there's no aircon? Could it be that?
I'm guessing it was more than that. Or, I mean, you can kind of tell the difference, can't you? Like, someone's skin, like, if you're sweating, your skin's going to look kind of shinier.
Yeah.
You know? Bit of a glow to you.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, you've ruined Zombie House flipping for me.
Why?
Because I knew about the overacting and stuff. But now I know a realtor was acting as a neighbour. So now I know it's completely fucking fake.
I mean, it could be that she was acting as the neighbour, or maybe she was the realtor for that house, because obviously they work together a lot. That, because bear in mind, Keith was called in as a builder, and then they went to put it forward for the show. So
but that's another thing what's fake about it.
What?
Your man with the dog is the one who picks out houses and stuff to work on.
Yeah, but it's a telly show.
Yeah, but
it's not everything. What I'm saying to you is, like, your one was obviously like she wasn't. Well, for all I know, she does own the place, but chances are not, because they're acting like strangers, and she clearly knows them at least a little bit. But she could have been the realtor for the house and was like, they don't want to actually be on camera. Tara, you play the realtor.
Yeah.
Or play the owner, I mean.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's telly.
No, it's a rough one for the kid. Like you said, he's got nothing from that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not hoping for financial gain.
Yeah, of course. But you'd hope there had been some type of compensation. But unfortunately...
But hopefully she had some sort of trust fund or something set up. Like, I don't know if they do that in America, do they? Yeah, they do. Yeah.
I mean, look, I hope she did, because, I mean, they said her business was doing quite well, and like her son was like her number one in her life.
And it's not like she was obsessed with Dave. She was starting to come round, but he was a gobshite.
Yeah.
So, with that done, give me an oddity.
So, oddity.
Mm-hmm.
Hachiko.
Beg your pardon.
Hachiko was an a.k.a. born on the 10th of November 1923. You like a.k.a.s, don't you?
The Japanese a.k.a.
Yeah, dogs.
Yeah.
Dog mate.
My mate had one.
Yeah. Nice dog.
Bit the postman and got put down.
Not a nice dog. Okay.
No, it was.
Oh.
That's what they were saying. They were classing it as a vicious breed.
Mm-hmm.
But it had never gone for kids, never gone for any other postman. So it was like, that postman did something.
See, I hate that. Well, no, I disagree with that. Right, okay, two things. Sorry, the whole vicious breed thing. I don't really believe in the whole vicious breed as much as I do that breed is very powerful, and if they're to inflict damage.
No, she was soft as shit.
But as far as saying like, oh, that postman must have done something, I don't think it's always that. It's the uniform thing.
Yeah, but
my dad
they get post every day.
Yeah, but my dad is a postman, yeah?
Yeah.
And just little story time here on that note. I've told you this before. Years ago, my grandparents had a little Jack Russell. She was lovely. Lovely little dog. And she loved my dad. Loved him. There was one time when I was a kid, he came down to collect me from my grandparents. And she saw him. She knew him, but he was in his uniform and she fucking ran after him. She was like, I'm going to fucking kill you, yeah? And then he used to always say to her, where's my girlfriend?
Yeah.
To the dog, yeah? And as soon as he said that and she heard his voice, realized it was him, she stopped. But it was that fucking, it's the uniform, whatever it was. I don't know why it's international that all these dogs have got the memo that you kill that person.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I could never be a postman.
No.
I'm a bit scared of dogs. Norman fucking weirds me out sometimes.
Well, yeah, I can see how uneasy you are with him.
Because they can still do damage.
Yeah. Not my little Norman, though.
So what did the Japanese Akita do?
So...
My mate's was called Tina, by the way.
Tina
Turner. Huh?
What? So Hachiko is remembered for his incredible loyalty and devotion to his owner. Every day, his owner, Hida Saburo, who was a professor, would travel to work via train. And at the end of every day, when he arrived back at the station, Hachiko would be there waiting for him.
Oh, see where this is going.
Unfortunately, Hida Saburo would pass away only 2 years later after suffering a cerebral hemorrhage while giving a lecture at work. Hachiko waited for his owner at the station, but of course, he never returned from work that day. At his owner's wake, Hachiko was said to have laid underneath his owner's coffin and refused to move. And every day, for the next 9 years, 9 months, and 15 days, Hachiko attended the train station in hopes that his owner would return.
Fucking hell.
It's devastating.
I knew that's where
I'm
it
not
was going.
even, when I was writing this, I was like welling up a bit. It was breaking my fucking heart.
Yeah.
I fucking love dogs. Like, we do not fucking deserve that animal.
No.
They are so fucking... And even you, who's a little bit of a prick about dogs.
What do you mean?
Because you're kind of like, oh, well, cats are so much better. Like, I'm more of a dog person than a cat person, yeah?
Yeah.
But admittedly, I like cats a hell of a lot more since getting my own cat, and he's a little shit.
Yeah.
I see the appeal of cats now, though. But you're always going to be funny about dogs, I think. You're better with them, but you're a little bit wary of them.
Yeah.
You just said you are, actually. You're wary of Norman.
I'm not hiding it. I actually have to listen to you, Norman's mother, go, Norman, no.
Norman, no. I love saying that. I picked the right name. He's a proper mama's boy as well, isn't he?
Yes.
So until Hachiko's death on the 8th of March 1935 at the age of 11, he went to the train station every day waiting for his owner. In honour of his unwavering love and devotion, a statue of Hachiko was erected outside of the train station where he had once waited for his owner. The statue that stands now is not actually the original. The first statue was placed there in 1934, but it was recycled during the war. Although eventually people did come to love and respect Hachiko, he was actually initially seen as being a nuisance, getting in the way of passengers trying to travel through the station.
Yeah, because people are wary of dogs, and when a Japanese Akita is a big fucking dog.
It's not just that, he was like in the way. Like people were trying to get through and he's literally like, where are you?
Do you know what Japanese Akitas are for?
They're beautiful.
Hunting bears.
Are they?
Yeah.
Is that bollocks? Is that true? Is that... I can't tell, because the face on you right now, you're questioning it yourself. You just said that you don't even know.
I'm 87% sure Akitas hunt bears.
Yeah.
They're trained to hunt bears.
Yeah. That's actually a very well-known story. They did make a movie about it as well.
Does sound familiar.
Actually, I say a movie about it. I'm not sure if the movie was was about his life or just heavily based.
Well, you know, Americans, if they made the movie, it would have been
a
a German Shepherd. And
I think, was it Richard Gere in the movie?
Don't know what that is.
What?
Dick Gere.
Richard Gere. Fucking Pretty Woman.
Oh, okay. Right, yeah.
Well, what do you think?
I knew Speedway. Oh, no, that was Mia. Robert Mia.
What?
speedway. I thought I knew a speedway rider called Richard Gere, but he weren't called Robert Meir.
Okay.
That's devastating,
isn't it? Like, I'm not even joking. Like, you always say, like,
I need to go and give Norman a cuddle.
You always say that I'm like cold-hearted and shit like that. I, honest to God, was welling up right now. I was just
obviously
this poor
it
little
was
baby.
a dog.
Yeah.
If it was a child, right? If it was a baby who crawled on its face every day to that train station, you wouldn't give a shit.
No, but like it is. It'd break your heart, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I love dogs.
Well, I'm gonna go and give Norman some kisses, cuddles, maybe a snack.
What a toy.
Fuck him.
He waits for no man. Thank you so much for listening. Find us on Patreon, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. If you have a case suggestion, or maybe even your own story, email us at mortalmusingspodcast@gmail.com.